guys, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is Looking for the Middle.
And we are about to pick out of the bowl.
Friday.
Yes, it is.
Okay. We don't have a ton
TGIF.
left in here. Oh, no, there's several. There's 4. Okay.
Okay. Well, Bethany can't count. It's fine.
I'm bad at counting. Okay. Ooh, this is fun.
Okay.
How long do you date someone before you'll know if it is or is not working?
What are your...
3.4 days.
What?
I'm joking.
Oh, jeez. What is 3.4 days? How many hours is that? Hold on.
Oh.
10, 2.4, so... Oh, that's too much math. No, it's too late at night for this.
Like,
P.S. It's 8 p.m. for
I was
anybody
gonna say,
wondering
it'd be
when we're
like
recording this.
9 hours?
Okay. Okay, seriously though, Bethany, what are your thoughts? Like, not aside from 3.4 days. How long do you give it before you're like, I don't think this is going anywhere?
Or you know that it is.
Or, was that part of the question?
Yeah, it said hold on, let me go back to it. How long do you date someone before you know if it is or is not working? So it's like,
it's a two-sided question.
The tipping point of, yes, we're in, or no, this is not going to work.
Okay.
I feel like you have multiples of those points along the way. Because working, ultimately, quote unquote, means marriage. Do I know after 3 months that I'm going to marry that person? Probably not. Do I know after 3 months that I really enjoy someone's company and want to pursue that more seriously? Yes. Or I know, I really don't think this is going somewhere and we're probably going to end it. But I think if your only checkpoint is, are we going to get married? You're going to be super stressed.
Yeah.
And very unsure of what to do even. Because if marriage is the only thing on the line from the get-go, then how do you even know where to start? Like, because you cannot know you're going to marry someone and it work from the jumping point.
No. My roommate and I were actually talking about this the other night. She said, I think people confuse dating with the intent of marriage and dating with the expectation of marriage.
That is a very good way of putting that.
That's what I thought too. I was like,
yes,
yeah, Lauren, you're like killing it.
No kidding. Yeah, good job, Lauren.
Yeah, but she was talking about, I was like, you can date with the intent of, I'm not just flipping around. I don't care who I go out. Like, I do want to date people that have qualities I'm looking for in a person, but I'm not going to date this person expecting to marry them, and then if it doesn't work out, then I'm just super disappointed and upset. And that's where I think the difference is have the intent, but you can't expect it right off the bat.
Well, and I had the thought the other day, kind of like there's 2 kinds of people in this world. I'm joking, but there's people who go into dating assuming every person they're dating is the person they're going to marry until they give them a reason to not think that. And then there are people who go into dating saying, I have no idea who the person I'm going to marry is, but I see qualities in you that I want in that person, and I'm going to pursue that until you give me a reason to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's subtle, but I think there's a big difference. And if you come into every potential dating relationship saying, I'm going to marry this person until I find something that makes me not want to, then every time it's this devastating thing because that was your future spouse that just turned out to not be perfect and now you are breaking up. Yeah. Whereas if you're intentionally going about it from the standpoint of, I don't know if we're getting married. I have no idea who that person will be. But you exemplify things that I think would complement me well. You have a strong faith. Like, we're going in the same direction. Let's see what this could be. Then when it might not work out, there's not this devastation. Unless, I mean, sure, if you've been going out for 2 years, like, and then you realize, that's different. I'm just saying, I kind of feel like 3 months is a good gauge.
Yeah.
Of, no, this isn't going to work out. If you date someone for 3 months, you have a pretty good indicator of patterns of life, of priorities, of that sort of thing. Because I think you have to give it some time.
Oh, for sure.
If at the first little mess up, you're like, done. That's not fair.
No.
So give it time. There needs to be some consistency and some time for that to develop. But I don't think at 3 months you have to decide we're getting married. It's like, okay, we've come to this roadblock, this decision point, or a fork in the road even, you could say. One fork being breaking up, the other point being we're not breaking up, we're continuing down the road to the next fork, that next decision point. But it's not breaking up or marriage after a few months. That's not your only option.
No, and I think this is even something you can take on a date-by-date basis, where it's like, okay, after every date, did I enjoy spending time with this person? Do I want to continue to spend time with this person? Do I want to continue to get to know this person more? And if the answer is yes, then you keep going. And when the answer starts to become like, I don't know, this is a bit of a red flag, I didn't like this, not to say, okay, we're done, but just like you start to notice those things. And if that starts to stack up over
or that becomes the pattern,
or it becomes a pattern over 2, 3, 4 weeks, then okay, maybe it's not going to work. But I think as you're moving forward, it's in this constant state of evaluation of, not that you're sitting there grading them, but it's like, do I like spending time with this person? Do I want to continue to get to know this person? And do I see promising godly qualities in this person? Great, let's move forward.
One thing that I think might help is like a practical example. So as you were I was actually kind of thinking, like, what is something that would be like, oh, red flag, but not break it? Like, so let's say you're going out with a guy, you've been out a few times, and you've kind of gotten past the awkwardness. You've gotten past the, hi, what's your favorite food, and what's your favorite color, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so maybe you're talking about some of those more deep things, the more just life pattern things, and you're like, hey, what are you studying right now in the Bible? What is the Lord showing you? And he says, I have had the busiest last 2 weeks, and I just haven't had a ton of time in the Word, but I'm working on, like, okay, fine. We all have that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's fine, and it's understandable. But if in, a couple weeks, maybe you circle back to that conversation, and he's like, yeah, I just haven't really had time, I haven't whatever, then I'm probably going to go, okay, that's when it kind of becomes red flag territory of, is this a priority in your life? But I'm not going to break up and say, oh, we're not seeing each other anymore because you said this 2 times. Talk about that. Like, that wouldn't be fair to them. Be like, hey, let's like dig into this a little bit more. Why is that? Like, maybe you could change. And you have to gauge this. If you're super, don't jump in when you're super casual still, whatever. But that's when it kind of becomes a red flag to me. Of, okay, maybe this isn't good. And so I'm going to notice that. I'm going to be intentional about following up with that. And if then, like we said, that becomes the pattern, then that's the point where after a few months, I'm going to be like you said in a different episode, I think talking about breaking up well, you were like, I think we prioritize our faith differently, and I don't see this working. I think at that point you can make that decision. If, on the other hand, it was a one-off thing and you come back and it's like, great, and they're in the Word and they're pursuing Christ, and it was just, we all have those seasons where it's like, I have hardly picked up my Bible in 2 weeks. I've listened to, listen to it in my car for a few minutes or what, like, we have that, and it's understandable. But is that the pattern? Now, once you have established that's not the pattern, and you're kind of at that few months, like I said, it doesn't mean you're going to marry that person. It just means, hey, there's a pattern here of them pursuing Scripture. So.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly what you said, is you can't be so hasty that you don't give it time for you to notice patterns, whether they're good or bad. I think that's something you're really looking for is, now, if you just have a really awkward, awful first couple dates, I'm not saying, like, date a guy for 3 months regardless. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying, like, the first few dates are going well. Like, you want to give it time as you're making these decisions. You don't, like Bethany said, the first time something goes wrong, be like, nope, here's the door. Like, goodbye.
Yeah.
But also, just the entire time, you don't have to know if you're going to marry this person right away.
No.
I knew one of the guys I used to work with at my last job, he's like, it took me 2 years before I really was sure that I wanted to marry my wife.
That is a really long time.
Granted, I've never heard anybody else take that long. Yes. Never heard anybody else take that long. But it's not impossible. Like,
no.
There were other, like, he was still in school, so there were things, that like they weren't having to just push and rush and everything. But it takes time for different people to figure that out. And so you don't need to just rush it.
Set a foundation first and let the rest develop. Honestly, for me, the first few dates, I don't really talk about super deep stuff unless it really organically comes up. I just want to get to know the person. Do I enjoy their company?
Yeah.
If we get past that hurdle, there's your first, is it going to work or is it not?
Yeah.
I enjoy being in their company for several hours at a time on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Great. Now let's take it a little bit deeper and see character patterns.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to point out too, you were talking about the guy who knew he wanted to marry her. 100% sure. I think it's an important distinction to point out that absolute certainty about that does not equate to your marriage is going to work out.
I was literally thinking the same thing.
I am not a proponent of divorce at all. I think there are a couple of very specific reasons biblically where divorce is allowed, but other than that, I'm absolutely not.
Agreed.
But you don't know what that person is going to do. You don't know what's really in their heart when it really comes down to it. That's why you have to look for those patterns. Mm-hmm. But knowing for sure you want to marry someone is not a guarantee that it might not go horribly wrong later. Mm-hmm. That's where you have to trust the Lord.
Yeah, and I think if you're pursuing marriage because you're pursuing certainty, like it for your entire earthly life, like that's not the point.
Yeah.
Like heaven forbid, you do get divorced. Your spouse could pass away sooner than you think they could. Like, there are things that could happen where that are totally out of your control.
Yeah.
But that you will not spend the rest of your life with this person. I think that's where we have to be really open-handed.
Very.
With this relationship that we're pursuing. But you've got to have, instead of like, okay, you know what? I'm not absolutely certain that I'm going to be with this person for the rest of my life, but I am certain that I want to be with this person right now.
As long as God gives
me the chance, or until I am seeing patterns or something.
I thought you meant after you're married. Yes, I see what you see. Yeah.
Yes. And because you're never going to be totally certain.
No.
We're not certain of anything in this world. We're not certain we're going to be alive tomorrow. I know that's so cliche, but
but it's true.
The only thing we are certain of is Christ.
Yeah.
That is the only certainty that we are guaranteed.
And that certainty is that whatever happens tomorrow, however I would define it as good or bad or horrible, whatever it is, the certainty is that he is on the throne and he is good. Mm-hmm. And that's what you can rest in. People will let you down. People are not perfect. And knowing something will work out, if you're talking about ultimately marriage, successful forever, is not possible.
No.
There is never a point where you know that.
No. All of that to say, I think, if anything, give it time, but be open-handed with it.
Totally.
That would be my advice to you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
No.
I have to figure this out as soon as I possibly can. No. You just take it one day at a time. You're like, if I still want to be with this person and they're showing all the right signs, great. If things... not bad things, but like red flags start to develop and like fly up left and right.
Pile up.
Yeah, then you reevaluate. But it's a process. It is not a let me get to this point and then I'm going to know. It's a day by day. It is a lifelong thing. With, marriage or with anything else that you're trying to figure out. Like you pursuing God's will for your life is a lifelong thing.
Totally.
So just relax and enjoy it and continue to seek wisdom and
don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it. So that's a lot.
There we go.
That's a
that
lot.
Was
that last one.
A serious one.
That was a serious one. But I think it's a great question.
That was a really good question.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Thank you for do we remember who said this in? Oh, Matt asked for that question.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Our good friend Matt. He's been one of our
content advisors.
Yes, from the male perspective. He's a big help. We ask all of our dumb girl questions.
I don't know how he hasn't gotten tired of us yet.
He fields our questions very well.
He does.
Great question, Matt. Keep them coming. This is always good to hear from a guy's side.
We like it. Cool.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Till next time, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is Looking for the Middle.